Hey, hi everyone. It's been a few weeks. I took a little time off. Thank you for coming to join me again today. 2026, here we go. And I brought a new friend. Oh my, the Teenage Engineering opxy. Wow. Okay. Um, this thing's insane. I'm just gonna go over a brief overview of it here, and maybe we'll start making a little music with it. Um, I'm honestly still just kind of smiling ear to ear about this thing because it's just so cool. So let me start off by saying it is extremely expensive. It's a very expensive synthesizer, but it is impeccably engineered. Like this thing is wild. I will say, um, one thing that I'm really impressed about is the fact that it's battery operated first of all, which is great. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to actually pull up my YouTube channel and make sure I got the stream actually properly running. Sometimes I mess those things up. And if I'm doing that right now, I want to know. Okay. No, I'm live. I see it. Okay. So, yeah, this thing, it's amazing. It's truly amazing. I am very happy to own it. We'll go over briefly, like just some kind of overview of it. We'll talk about its pros and cons real quick, and then we'll make some music with it. So in general, what we have here, and I should say I've never really messed around with the OP1 or the OP1 field. I think it's called neither of those. But from my understanding, they have some slight differences, or maybe some big differences. But the main thing with this guy is it is sequence based, meaning you basically have a bunch of synthesizer engines in here. As well as sampler, as well as drum machines, all that kind of stuff going on. I should say drum sampler, not drum machine. Various different machines. We'll go over that here shortly. And then you use the sequencer here to control those. You do get nice 64 steps. You can scale those so you can increase the overall time they take, but you're still stuck with those 64 individual steps. That's okay. I'm cool with that. Also, you do get various engines. I think it's around 7 or 8. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. You get a couple different sampling options. You get straight single shot or single sample. You get a multi sampler, which is awesome, meaning you can actually create your own patches in here from sampling synthesizers and get some really good sounds. I believe it's fairly limited in terms of like you're not going to be able to sample every single note per every step. It's going to be something around, I think you get like a range, you get a certain amount of notes and you can kind of mess with the range. You don't get the fine detail of what you get to do with that. It kind of figures it out for you, from my understanding. I haven't honestly messed with that yet because I feel like that's just like a higher level that I haven't gotten to just yet with this because there is a lot to unpack in this little guy. And then you also get slicing. So you can take those single samples, say like a drum sample, a drum loop, and you can slice it up. That's actually brand new in the most recent firmware. Other than that, you do get external CV and MIDI control. I haven't messed with that at all. Honestly, that's not really what I bought this thing for. For me, well, I'll talk more about that in a second because I'll talk about why it's perfect for me, why I really love it. But you basically get 8 tracks, and these can house various synth engines. You can then also use those. Actually, I apologize. You will go over here and use these kind of secondary auxiliary tracks, they call them, to do other things, such as run your MIDI, run other cool stuff something called the brain, punch in effects, all sorts of stuff. But we're going to mainly concern ourselves with the 8 tracks here because honestly, I'm not going to do like a full tutorial. That's not my style. My style is trying to make some music with these things. So I'm going to start relatively simple because this thing it's a beast. It does have some limitations, some serious limitations that might turn some people off. Like you have a certain amount of notes you can have in a pattern, and you can quickly run out of memory. So I've been told. I haven't hit those limits yet, but I haven't pushed it really hard yet. For me personally, when it comes to limitations, just kind of give you a little bit of my personal ethos here. I actually kind of like them. Sure, they can become problematic, and sometimes they are. They suck. They're just too much, and that might not be what works for you. For example, though, the modal cycles from Electron, fairly limited machine, but I realized when I got that the limitations help me actually finish things. When I sit in front of a DAW, honestly, I rarely finish songs, and I've been playing music for a long time, and it's kind of a problem for me. I just sit there and I'm like, oh man, well, I could add this. Oh, this part needs like a chorus. like literally like a choir. This part needs like, oh, strings, I can pull this. You just keep reaching for more and more, and you keep building these things until they're just so big. Then you try to mix them and it's a mess. This is not that. This is probably one of the coolest idea creation tools I've ever come across. But I very much am going to plan on doing full tracks within the box on this guy. Yes, I will eventually bounce those down and maybe do some, obviously do some EQing and some final mixing and stuff like that kind of stuff. But 95% will come out of this box first. You do get a host of effects. The punch-in effects here are all sort of like performance-based, but you also get your kind of standard core delay and reverb sends. Man, there's just a ton in this thing. So I can keep going about it. Honestly, I don't know everything yet by heart. I've read the manual a few times, actually, and I've also been playing with it for a while. So I'm kind of in that middle area right now where, like, I have the ideas, but I don't necessarily know how to implement all the time, because one thing about this is it has a ton of little shortcuts that you have to get used to. That's where I struggle the most right now. It has this nice little speaker here that's kind of cool. It's a neat idea, and it's cool when you want to hear a sound. It's not super quality, and honestly, pretty much everything, I'd say like 50 hertz or below, maybe like even like 75 hertz below, kind of just doesn't happen. But it's pretty cool when you just need a little bit of sound and you want to check something or whatever. So that's nice. Obviously, you get the headphone jack, which is what I would use if I'm traveling around. Nobody wants to hear you writing music anyways. So headphones is where it's at. And then, of course, you can plug into regular speakers. And it sounds fantastic when you do that. But my point is I probably will build like a little magnetic sticker here, a magnetic little magnet that has some of those shortcuts on there, because honestly, they're just too much. It's too hard to remember all that stuff. Maybe if this was like my only synth and I dedicated myself to it, yes, I would probably get all that stuff in my head and actually function pretty easily. But I'm always looking at the manual, or better yet, just throwing a question into Google, because I'm like, wait, how do I do that again? And so, time will help with that, but it would be nice to have that. Part of me kind of wishes they had made some more information on this to tell you those things, but at the same time, I do respect the fact that they're kind of changing things as they build new firmware patches and stuff like that. So maybe you don't want to dedicate something in writing on the front because it might move somewhere else later. So anyway, let me tell you why I love this thing, because I really, really love this thing. Like I said, it's built like a tank. And even though I watched tons of videos on it and I saw all sorts of stuff on it, I was still blown away by how small this thing is. It is tiny. It's, I'm going to try, I don't want to move it out of the picture too much, but it can't be more than with the not including the knobs, it's probably like a half-inch thick, maybe a little higher, 5/8, I don't know. With the knob, you add another, so it's probably like a little over an inch thick with the knobs. I have reasonably large hands, but nothing crazy. I can cover this thing easily with less than both my hands. It weighs, nothing. It's solid as a rock. Like, you can feel this thing is all metal. It is tough. The buttons click wonderfully. The keyboard here, which is kind of hard to tell what the keyboard is, but if you can see, starts at F. Here's your next F. Goes all the way up. So it's not quite 2 octaves, because traditionally you're going to get that last note here to kind of complete. So you're not all the way there. So what would that be? 12 plus 11. So I'm guessing like 23 keys. 4, 12, 13, 14, 20, 24 keys. 24 keys. So I guess it kind of is, but usually you have to add that 1. So it'd be 25 keys if you got the full octave. Nonetheless, if I didn't say this already, it is velocity sensitive. So here, let's just hear like a drum sound here. Here's really quiet. That is awesome. Come on. Come on. And you can adjust the sensitivity. I have it like pretty compressed because I don't want a whole lot, because usually I'm just kind of doing ideas and I'll go back and fix that stuff later. But I will say, for example, adjusting the velocity is not quite like an Electron unit. I will say I'm a huge Electron fan. It is my butter, man. Like, I just love my Electron gear. And because that's kind of the way I walked into sequence-based music, and I'm obsessed with them, I always compare everything to the Electron sequencer. And I will say, though it's not the Electron sequencer, you can do almost everything an Electron sequencer can do. You have parameter locks, which they kind of go around it with this thing called step components. You also get some pretty amazing kind of features in here that are similar. You don't get the amazing stuff like sound locks and a few of the other things that are really impressive. But man, it's something. It's something else. There are some shortcomings, like I said, we'll come across those. For example, like the drum sequencer is fantastic, but you have some issues because, say, you want step components on a particular step, but if you have multiple things happening on that step, like a kick, a snare, a hi-hat, a crash, all those things can occur. You have four hands. You have 2 legs and 2 hands. You have 4 appendages. As a real-life drummer, you can hit 4 things at the same time. You can go beyond that with a sequencer, but if you're trying to do realistic stuff, I tend to kind of commit to that. But you might be hitting all of those things on one step, and you want to apply, say, something like you want to affect the velocity of one of those. You can't. I do believe they're going to add that because I still think this thing is relatively in its infancy. I think Teenage Engineering has a lot of work to do across the board. I'm still crossing my fingers for that medieval update. Come on, T. Give it to us, please. So I hope they work on that first, but I wouldn't be too upset if they came out with some more updates for this thing. Most importantly, I would bet not all the money, I'd bet a significant amount of money that this is going to get the multi-output over USB that you did see the OP1F get recently. If they don't do that, I would be blown away because this thing is clearly the superior of the two. It has to have a more powerful, or at least at the same level CPU, and obviously it's basically the same unit, it just has different things going on inside. So I can't imagine we won't get that. I hope it comes soon though, because I am busting out songs on this thing, and when I go to mix, I would love to be able to just multi-track that out. That would save me a ton of time. But most importantly, what I really love about this thing is the battery. I mean, the battery is killer. The battery lasts a long time. You could probably use this 2 hours a day and probably get away with like a week before you have to plug it in. It's a guess, but I'm just basing that off how much I used it before I even thought about putting the battery. I was like, oh yeah, I got to charge this thing. And I looked and it was at 50%. And I swear I had been using it for like 8 or 9 hours. But that's amazing. So put this in your backpack. I got a small case for it. Throw it in there on an airplane, on a bus, sitting in the doctor's office, whatever. You got 20 minutes, you got 5 minutes. It boots up quick. It's easy to use once you get going on it. You can sit there and just write. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, and like I said, it's about the size or even smaller. It's smaller than the Switch 2. It's about the size-ish of an original Switch, give or take some dimensions here. Maybe it's a little thinner, but a wider kind of thing, but it's basically there. So, without further ado, let's play some music with this thing. I do want to mention, more ado. I want to mention one last thing. Again, kind of comparing it to the Electron style. The synth engines on here are curated, if you will. You're going to get a limited amount of options to play with them. So you're basically going to get like between 4 and 8 parameters for just the synthesis part of the engine. And then you get your filter, and then you get your single LFO. But it can feel a little limiting. And honestly, had I not spent so much time with the modal cycles, which I mentioned earlier, and really realized how much you can squeeze out of these I won't say very, but relatively simple synth engines, I would have maybe been a little bit saddened by it, but honestly, I'm not. I think I can get some really great sounds out of here, and they do give you a fair amount of different machines, and of course, it has a sampler. So, if you feel like, man, I'm not getting that boom bass that I want from, like, say, a Moog Minotaur or a Moog Slim Fatty, which I have, then I'll go ahead and just multi-sample it. Or just sample it, whichever one makes sense. So, anyway, let's just dive in. So, one thing I thought was interesting, especially because of the note limitation, they give you, I just got the standard kit booted up. They give you two kits, and these kits, all the way, every one of these keys has a sound on it. So technically you're looking, 24 keys, so you're looking between these two 48 drum and percussion samples. that's a ton. You know, it's way more than I'm going to use. So honestly, I can't ever imagine. Well, I shouldn't say that because I did at one point use it, but most times I'm probably just going to stick to one single drum track on this. I should also mention that all 8 of these can host any of the synth engines, sample engines, drum engine, whatever. It can be whatever you like. One of my styles of setting things up, though, is I really, really like to commit to where I have things, because this way when I'm mixing, when I'm doing stuff, I just get used to it. I almost always am going to have drums. I almost always am going to have bass. So I always kind of usually stick those in the similar areas. Being that I'm pretty happy with the 8 tracks right now, I have been sticking to what they do, which is 3 is bass. That was weird. And then the drums on 1. 2 I'm going to leave for now, unless, I don't know, maybe I want more drums. Most likely I'll wipe that out and put something in there later once I reach my full thing here. So let's just go through the regular ones here. So this is our default bass patch. Nice little kind of funky bass there. This is the keys. I'm going to play with this some more because honestly this doesn't sound like... Sounds some very cheesy FM keys. I had hoped it would be a little better for that in terms of the standard EP sound, but it's usable, and obviously, you know, it has its own style. So what I'll eventually do is today, when we're here, I'm going to start playing with that and truly try to dial in something more like a Rhodes, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what we can get. This is a cool FM synth. Actually, I should just make sure. Okay, so you're going to... Oh, there we go. Category. Engine. So you have an option between going category, which tells you other presets. You don't actually see what the engine is, so you just go by the preset and you say, oh, I like that, and then it loads the particular engine that needs. I prefer it this way, so it's going to tell me what we're actually going to use. This one is called Dissolve. I really like that engine. I think that thing sounds fantastic. It's fantastic. This is Axis. Definitely an FM. Maybe the Dissolve's not. Could be a subtractive. Drum we'll skip because we already played with that. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's just drum. Okay. Let's hear what we got for different E pianos. That's a little. Sounds kind of like a Wurlitzer, maybe. Obviously needs a little work on the envelopes there. Jacket? Okay. Let's go way up in the octave on that. So clearly a FM piano sound. Jeans. Okay, I'm seeing a... Ooh. A lot of reverb and a lot of delay on that. Kind of EP-ish. Kind of a bit more like a Wurlitzer again. Needs tuning, this one's called. That's nice. Okay. Back to the engines. Hard sync. I saw somebody say in a video like, here, I'll show you. This one they said, oh, it's a hairdryer because it blows. And he was like, I can't make any good sounds with this. And I was like, okay, well, that's tough. And when I got it, I don't have any trouble making good sounds with this thing. You just bring the noise down, maybe bring down the low cut a little bit, or open it up. Oh, sorry, other way. And then if you come over here into your secondary options, or I'm sorry, not secondary options, we're going to the amp envelope. Maybe do the filter. Actually, let's go ahead and turn the filter off. I mean, already that sounds pretty cool, and obviously I feel like there's a lot of room there, so don't knock it, man. That is a good synth engine. Whoever you were, random YouTuber. Let's go back in. Let's see what else we got. We got the multi-sampler. Obviously not a synth engine per se, but we're also multi-sample, so it can be whatever you want. Very pretty. Ooh, some nice strings. Ooh, yeah. Harmonium. I love the harmonium. I don't remember the name of the song, but there's a Radiohead song. I think it's on Kid A. It's one of my favorite bands, but I don't know the name of their songs. I honestly can't remember what's on their albums because I just got all the music together and I just listened to it on a stream. It sounds silly, but that usually means if I don't know the name of the song, but I love the band, that usually means they're like my favorite because I don't care about the names. I just want to hear all the songs. But anyways, there's a harmonium in one of their songs, and I love it. Just reminds me of it every time. The Spectre. Ooh, I want to go back to that felt piano. That's nice. It's got like this nice little, like warbly tail. Spectre. I mean, come on. That sounds amazing. Oh, that's lovely. And these are just the general sounds. We get to tweak them still. You don't get much tweaking on the multi-sample engine. Obviously, it's a multi-sample engine. It's designed to just take whatever you made, but that's beautiful. Axel. If I cared to know how to play Van Halen, then that would probably be the patch, but I don't care. There we go. That's not a synth engine, but yeah. Okay, well, you know, we got that covered. That's great. Now the organ. This is a synth engine. Very nice. That's a usable organ for me right there. The chorale. Choral? I don't know. That's kind of cool. I don't see myself. Maybe if I guess I get to mess with the envelope, so maybe I could use that. Dingus. That's nice. The effects on there help. Pretty standard sounding there. Kind of B3-ish. That one kind of reminds me of, can't think of the other one that's, I have a Nord back there and it's got a few. It's got the B3 and it's got something else that I can't think. Oh, a Farfisa, I think. Farfisa? Yeah, Farfisa. Can't quite remember. I was never much of an organ player. Honestly, there's a Benevento Russo duo. I think is probably the only band I consistently listen to that uses organ other than old school jazz and stuff. But even that, I prefer a piano or a Rhodes in my jazz. This is the Prism. Dude! So the main reason I want to show these is because you can hear this thing has... Ooh, medieval. What do we got here? Trying to be a harpsichord, maybe? Yeah, that's what it's trying. I just want to show the range. I mean, it's pretty impressive. Mineral. Oh, you know what I forgot to do, just in case. I don't know if anybody's reaching out, but we should try and see. Let me bust this out and make sure I have my thing open. Chat. And nobody, but that's okay. Even if nobody watched, I'd still do them because I love making music. And I love sharing it, so hopefully someone will chime in, but that's okay if you don't. Feel free to just hang out. But if you'd like, you can. You can even make some recommendations. Maybe say, try this, try that kind of thing. I'm all for it. Okay. Now I won't miss any notes. All right. Mineral. Yeah, not really into that one so much, but probably have use for it somewhere. Then you have sample. I mean, this is, I'm assuming, not a multi-sampled. But that sounds pretty dang good. I want to go back to that one for a second. Okay, well, I just found the patch that we're going to start with, because that's awesome sounding. All right, well, let me think here. I make something I like and then I go back to play it and it doesn't sound anything like it. Oh. All right. That's it. All right, let's come over here and get our tempo. Okay, we're at 99. I'm just gonna go on and round it down to 99, and we're gonna do the. This is a cool thing. Normally, you hold record and hit play. Like again, I'm coming from a sequencer. I'm sorry, from Electron. And you actually get, oh wow, the color is so different. It's red on my screen, but it's looking yellow on here. Okay, well, this is like the only color you're going to see on this thing. Everything else is gray, but this little bit of red, and I think just that. I can't remember anything. Oh no, the sample one does it too. So it's very, very gray. And it does not bother me at all. I actually really like it. Surprise to me. So what I think is really cool about this, and you can do it differently. You can actually start the sequencer and hear the click and start going. But right now, it's literally just waiting for me to play, which is really nice. So I don't have to just try to let the sequencer go around and start recording. I can grab it right away. So what was I doing there? I think I was in the key of G minor. Okay, already got to stop here. Quick way to erase. We're going to hold the bar and clear all. Hold it down. Boom. Okay. What I forgot to do was set up the amount of bars that we want. So if I hold down bar and I increase it to 4, now I'm using the whole 64 steps. Before I was just doing 16. You can hear it started overriding itself. So let me play that again because I was just making that up and I kind of liked it. That's over here. So boom, 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 boom. Cool. Okay, here we go again. Just want to catch it again. Nice and pretty. Let's go ahead and bring in one of those delightful string sounds. So make sure I'm not recording. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the metronome. So hit metronome here. This button over there turns it off. That's something you just really got to get used to. You got to get used to using the buttons on here. It doesn't like map them out, which Electron, again, I'm comparing, but man, when Electron does such a good job of showing you where things are happening, there are a lot of keyboard commands and, shortcuts and stuff in there too, but this one's a little more ambiguous, but again, you get used to it. All right, let's come back here and let's hear this. We need something really soft here, so stop that for a second. Come over to our, so you have these 4, this is just to break it down here. These are your 8 tracks, whether it be synth and sampler tracks and drum tracks, or this button here turns it into the auxiliary tracks. That is a whole other ball of wax. We will maybe touch on that today, but honestly probably not because it's a lot. So we're going to stick with just the soundtracks for now. But then you have these 4 buttons in the center. And when you're flying, it can get a little confusing because you might be looking for like 3, and you're like, oh, 3. Oh, wait, I meant that 3. But if you can remember, you have your 8 tracks here, then you have your 4 little menu buttons here, which comport, or what am I trying to say? They are there to control the tracks, the individual tracks, and they give you 4 pages. You're basically going to get your synth or sample stuff here in the first one. You're going to get your envelopes here in the second one, which if you click any of these buttons, I think, yeah, any of these, you switch between filter and amp. Your third one will be your filter. You can adjust which kind of filter you have. So you have a Z low pass, Z high pass. Not really sure what that means, the Z, but those are just regular high pass and low pass. SVF, which is, I believe it's more like a response to incoming signals, almost like it's, well, I can't quite remember, honestly, I'm sorry. And then ladder filter, which is like, traditionally when you say ladder filter, most people like myself are going to think of a Moog filter. So anyway, we're going to keep it on low pass. Let's get back out of there. Let's see, yep. Oh, we can also see if you hold down shift, you actually get some secondary here, which usually is more like, this is a send. So if you're on the filter, you hold down shift, you get to send to different things like your effects, which is going to be your delay and reverb. There's this thing called the tape recorder. Oh, I'm going to do more videos on this thing. I'm probably not going to touch that today because that's a cool thing, but it's yeah. And then you got an auxiliary send as well. But if you come back to this guy, yeah, but this one you just get some quick settings for volume. I don't really know what that note means, and I'm not sure what that means either. So we'll have to figure that out. And then lastly, you do have your modulation, which is just one LFO. Of course, I hope they add some more LFOs. I love LFOs, so hopefully they will. But nonetheless, you can do a lot with one LFO. I used to say, I can't believe only one thing would have one LFO, but what really changed my mind was my Korg DW8000, very old, I think it's 1984, hybrid synth, analog filters, analog stages and stuff, but digital sampled stuff in the beginning. And man, I love that synth. I'm going to have to sell it when I move because we're moving overseas, but it's going to be a tough one. Anyway, you can do a lot with one LFO, more than I thought. And generally because you also get some other stuff going on here too, like you get some modulation through some other ways too. One thing I should mention too is you actually also get, let me see if I can remember how to get to it. It's not that. Maybe it's this. You hold this. No. There it is. So you select your track. We are on track 5, right? Actually, we went over to 6. If you hold shift and you tap the audio track button, you get another sub menu of some fun things. So you get to set your velocity sensitivity. You get to set a high pass filter, which is killer because when you go to mix something, man, high pass is, there's a master EQ, but there's no EQ per channel. Also hope they add that. But right now, you can basically kill off a whole lot of those low end frequencies and release a lot of that room down there for your bass and your kick and what have you, because it can turn into a mud fest real quick. So I was very happy that they have that. You've got some tuning parameters. You got the portamento you can mess with. The width, I'm not sure. I'm assuming that's more of like, I'm not really sure because, I mean, it's not the pan. So, I mean, when I think of width, I guess maybe they're doing some sort of spectral thing where they're kind of fattening it up, maybe sort of chorus-like. But maybe we'll have to mess it up. And then you also get your mod wheels, your mod settings, and this is for when you have an external controller. So you have mod wheel, aftertouch, pitch bend, and velocity. So that's really cool. You can actually use, I believe, the velocity right now with this guy internally, but there is no pitch. Oh no, what am I talking about? I can't believe I almost forgot. It's kind of silly. I don't really use that much, but you can't really see it right here. Maybe you can a little bit. Let me see if I can turn that a little bit. There's this little kind of touchpad-y thing. Let me get that back in there. Little touchpad right here that acts as your pitch bend. It's kind of silly. Oh my God, I can't believe I almost forgot this too. This thing has like a gyroscope in it, and you can set that, and you can literally pick it up and wiggle it and use that as a modulation source too. It's cool, but I mean, you know, like the last thing I'm going to do when I'm making music here, I'm going to move this whole thing here because it's kind of, just realized it's kind of off. There we go. That's a little better. But the last thing I do, like if I were to take this out live and play a show with it, which, I mean, maybe, the last thing I'm going to want to do is wiggle it around like that when you have connected cables. I mean, something pops out, or you know, you have your cables has some issues. It's gonna sound horrible. You're gonna mess something up. Nobody would do that. Who would pick up their thing and do that? You know. Nonetheless, it's still pretty cool. I gotta admit, it's still a fun thing. So if you're just like messing around, you can, I believe you can record it too. So if if you set it up and you're just sitting in your studio, or you're sitting on the train or whatever, and you just want to wiggle it to get some kind of craziness and record that, that makes sense. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where you're like, that's fun and it's nice, but like, am I ever really going to use it that much? Probably not. But who knows? All right, I'm kind of all over the place with this guy. So first thing I want to do, I am going to mess with the envelope. Man, I've been talking for a while. I said that a while ago. So back here, we're going to come to the amp. Let's give this a little bit of a nice attack. Nice and slow. Maybe a little bit less than that. I wonder... No. So here's some more settings too under the envelopes. We got the pitch bend, tide notes. I'm not sure. Poly has to do, I think, with the retriggering of the envelopes. So you can do like a paraphonic, meaning like, you know, as you play the notes, the filter only triggers off the first one and maintains as you play the rest of them. But I prefer the poly. I'm going to go for poly. I wonder, I don't know if there is, and I'm not going to go that crazy and look for it right now, but I wonder if I can adjust the slope of the envelopes. As you can see here, that looks, I kind of prefer a nice linear envelope for swells, but this sounds pretty good. Anyway, let's crank some release. Too much. And it's funny that you actually have the opposite for the release. I'm honestly not going to be able to tell you which one is exponential and which one's logarithmic, but it's one or the other. Dude, that sounds pretty good. Okay, let's hear what we got. Oh, one more thing. I wanted to go back and do the settings and do, oops. I do feel like the knobs go backwards. I don't know why. I just do. I'm always turning the knob the wrong way, so probably just a me thing. But if you struggle with that too, just remember, you're going to get used to it. Get this little hair off of there. Get out of there. Okay, so I'm going to cut off some of this low frequency by engaging the high pass filter. You can hear, it does its job. So I cut off about 25. That gives me a lot more space for that definitely bassier, lower sounding keyboard that I had going on. So it honestly sounds a little thin right now, but we're going to build something, and obviously it'll fit much better in that way. And of course we can come back and change it if we want to. Real quick, I'm going to go to the mixer. I'm going to find 5. We're going to set the panning. That's interesting. Hopefully it's not my headphones. No, or anything. But it sounds like this is coming out of the right channel much more. So maybe when it was multi-sampled, I mean, it sounds like a real instrument maybe. So it's probably, you know, XY pattern mics or something like that. So you're gonna get some preset pan in there on this one, which is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and actually bring this sound over to the left. Cool. All right. Another thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to mess with the scale. So unlike last time, I'm going to remember to set 4 bars on this, but if you see, if I hold this down, track scale. So another thing to know is you see these little numbers here, 1 through 9 plus 0 here. This has to do, you use these a lot. We'll talk about scenes and song mode and all that stuff here in a little bit. And you're going to employ these guys here as kind of like your, I don't know, I guess your numerical settings sometimes. So for example, track scale, we can go 1, regular, and you start increasing the scale. And this is funny because when I first started doing it, I was confused. Again, electron junkie over here. When they said scale of 4, I thought they meant like it's going to be 4 times faster. So not what I wanted. And then I was realizing, like, oh my God, it keeps going up. Like, who would ever want 8 times? Because the other way it's done on Electron is they do actually the fractions. So if you wanted a 1/4 scale, would slow it down, where this is different. But what's confusing, if you get up here, you can see this is half scale. I'm assuming that's twice as fast. Let's see. Yep. Okay. So it's just backwards from what I'm used to. And they do some weird things like that. We'll talk about like the division, which multiplies, is weird. But anyway, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go to a 4. Interestingly enough, this does not. So again, I'm going to talk about Electron a lot. Electron has it so you have like a master length, a sequence length change, all these kind of really cool features that let you really dial in how your how your pattern's gonna play, and how you can change the pattern even though the pattern hasn't finished. This does not work that way right now, at least maybe forever. Once you set up a scene, which we'll talk about in a minute, but that's essentially your pattern within a song. It's going to finish the whole pattern before it plays the next one if you want it automated. You can obviously switch it immediately, which is nice because it actually will keep the flow. So say you're halfway through pattern 1 and you want to go to pattern 2 right away, it'll start pattern 2 at the halfway mark, so it'll complete. Or you can do a cue as well, but we'll get all to that. But the point is that the length of your pattern is determined by the longest step sequence. So keep that in mind. So for example, we're going to turn this one to a 4 scale. This is now, so the piano track, which is on a regular scale of 64 steps, it will have to go 4 times through that sequence. So what is that? 256 steps before it would change in a cued fashion to the next pattern, because I am setting this track 6 to be 64 steps, but at quarter notes instead of 16 notes. That's kind of convoluted. Hopefully you followed me there. If not, obviously feel free to reach out to me and I'll explain that a little better. But in a nutshell, just remember the longest is essentially the master length. All right, so we're back to this now. We're going to hit stop. We're going to hit record. Let's see. I'm actually just going to play a second here because I want to hear what I'm going to do. I might go up an octave. Sounds a bit like a dramatic 80s soundtrack. That's not what I'm going for. Let's just try something nice. Let me try. Okay, I'm actually going to back this down to a track 2 scale. And let's see here. So I played a first inversion G minor 7, leaving the root out entirely. Adding the root there, and then coming to a C7. Okay. So again, record, play, sequencer does nothing until I start playing. Very handy, because if you get the flow going, you can do this. It can happen really quick. So. It's pretty. It's rather pretty. Man, I mean, honestly, I haven't written anything pretty, I would say, per se, on this. I've been writing more just kind of like funky stuff. But that patch inspired it because it was just such a pretty patch. All right. I think you can hear as well as I do that patch needs to come down some. So another little quirk here is that, to me, it's opposite the way these are lined up. These are going to be your sends to your delay and then reverb. This is your pan and this is your volume. Honestly, it would have made perfect sense in my mind to do volume first, pan, and then your sends. You know, that's what they chose, I guess. So I don't care for that because I'm obviously having to fight the urge to reach for the other one. But, you know, whatever. Small. That's just a small complaint. go. Now let's send some reverb. I feel like the patch already had some reverb on there. I can barely tell the difference. It's a little silkier, if you will. Okay, let's come back to this one and maybe, you know, I'm going to take a little of the low on that too. Whoops. Nope, not that one. There we go. Cool. I think that can come down a little more. Just be kind of subtle on the back end. Yeah. Let's see if we can add a little reverb to this guy. Sorry, delay. Okay. Do I put some hip-hop drums behind it? Yeah, maybe why not? I don't care. Okay. So we're going to step sequence this time just to kind of get this going. Couple tricks in here. First of all, let's talk about the sequencer. Again, you know, we talked about the 4 steps. 4 bars. I'm going to go ahead and do that. One thing I will say, I do wish there was like kind of a nice little LED or something that told me what bar, because it can be kind of hard to, you know, when you're going real quick to kind of just like flash and figure it out. But what also is kind of problematic can be realizing without hitting the bar button which bar you're in. For me, it can be a bit of a problem. So let's start. So if you were on a different track, so let's just go ahead and bring up this guy. It's really easy to figure things out because you just hold the step and you can touch the note just like so, and you can hear. Pretty easy. Let's get that out of there. The other thing also I would say is that you can affect the sequencer without being in a record mode, which there is an undo. I don't really use the undo that much because honestly I can't remember what it is half the time. But you know, when you're flying, I'm going to take these gloves off. I'm actually getting a little warm. When you're flying around, it's easy to bump these buttons, or it's easy just to accidentally push a button and then you have to remember what note you played, all that stuff, because it just wipes it out. I wish there was a way to say, hey, I am not in record mode, so these don't do anything, but I don't even know. Maybe have them do something else, but just keep in mind that any time you can adjust the sequencer notes, purposefully or on accident, so be careful. Anyways, let's go back to the drums. Here's where it gets tricky, because you're like, okay, I see a sequencer here, and I know I have 24 sounds. How do I know which one I'm actually affecting? Well, there's a trick. If you hold down the drum sound you want, and you just tap record, you are now in the sequencer for just, you have to continue to hold. You're in the sequencer just for that one. So I believe I did not change the scale yet. No, I did do 4. Okay. So let's go ahead and just do, no, I don't want to do 4 and the 4. Let's see. Boom, boom, cha. Okay. And why am I not getting any sound? Okay, well, first problem here. Why am I not getting any sound out of that? Oh, it's muted. There we go. Okay, another thing I should show you. I'm glad I figured that out. Didn't take too long. Holding shift, you can quickly mute all or any of your tracks. Once we get into sequencing with the songs and the scenes and stuff, I can show you how you can actually mute per scene, which is really fun and stuff. But keep in mind, holding shift. So I was probably doing something and accidentally did that and turned it off because I'm pretty sure it was on before. But anyway, let's try it again. Boom, boom, cha. Boom, boom. Okay. Let's see this. What do I have here? 4 bars. Interesting. I must have had something else on that one. Okay. Boom, boom, cha. Boom, boom, cha. that one, I come here and do boom, 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 cha. Okay, let's come over. Actually, is that bar 4? That was. Okay, so now this is our kick drum. Let's see, which one sounds better? Okay. Yeah, we need this one a little looser. Okay, so if we see this now, we can see the kick drums. Make sure we're on bar 1. See, I was actually on bar 2 because I don't know what it is until I start clicking. I can do it this way, but that starts taking them away. Oh, nope. Let's scale. Yeah, there's no quick way as far as I know to get to those bars. You know, small complaint, but it would be nice if we got something different. Maybe even on the screen I would be okay with that. Okay, so where are we at here? On track 1, boom, boom, cha. So my first snare is going to be right here, doing kind of a half step. So that's where I want. Again, hold it down, hit record. You can see everything disappears but those guys. Make sure we got that right. I think. Oh, do I just have to hold it like that? Oh, that's cool. I guess record will show me. It's like right there. It still doesn't show me if I record. Then it just shows me. But if I hold it and I start tapping them in there, it takes them away too. So that's cool to know. Okay. Come back here. Okay. Boom, boom, cha. Right, let's see. Okay, need one on that 4th bar right there. All right, pretty simple. I think actually we have too much space on this area here too, so I'm going to go with 1, try that there, and then do this guy there. Let's see what we got. Feel like I like that in the first one. So where am I? I'm bar 1, bar 2. Wonder if I just did this. Nah, that's too fast probably. Let's try it. You know what? I'm gonna add another one right here. Yeah, it's not too bad. What I probably will do, so again, this is where it gets a little confusing. I was just thinking in my head that I might want to do like a little snare roll, like a roll up to the snare, like a whoosh on one of them, but now that I'm thinking about it, you can't share a step with the kick because then it would also do it to the kick. Again, that's the limitation of the step components right now. I'm really hoping they address that because that would be great. But for now, you know, it is what it is. So I'm actually going to come back to that bar because I feel like it needs something there. I'm going to get rid of this guy. We'll put it right here. Let's try maybe right here. And then I'm going to put this guy here. I can take it away actually. Do a snare. And okay. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. If I hold shift, see they dim. If I tap it once, it's blinking. Now I can come over here and I can mess with what's called the step components. This is a way to add some funky automation stuff going on here. So I think I'm going to use, well, first we'll start with velocity. I'm going to turn this down. Where am I at? Oh, see, again, these guys. So we're going to go down to force velocity to 16. Let's see if I can, oh, wait, what's the ramp? Yeah, maybe that's what I want. 5 steps, 1 octave. Well, we're just going to have to hear what that does. Let's see. So I put the velocity down and I use this ramp. Nope, that did not do what I hoped. Alright, let's try it again. Shift, taparoo. Let's take that out of there. Let's do the division, which is multiply. It's so weird. This should give us... Oh, I almost did the knobs again. This is actually this guy. Let's see. What if I did 3? Let's try it. This should give us a bit of a, what do we call it? Beat repeat or note repeat kind of thing going on. Yeah. There's got to be a way to do like a velocity. A better velocity. Let's take this all the way down to 1. Let's see what we got this time. It's still kind of there. It's like too much. I want it to be like kind of a real light roll. Alright, there's also... You know what? I don't remember which one does probability. Let's see. Hold. Nope. They have got this really interesting thing on the sequencer. I haven't used it yet though because I'm afraid it's just going to confuse the heck out of me. You can basically alter the way the sequencer plays, essentially creating like polyrhythmic sequencers by telling it to like skip a step or hold on a step for a while. I'm just like, dude, that I feel like I'll get so lost unless I'm going for some sort of like randomness that I don't really know what's going on. I want it to be more like what's the word? Spontaneous in a way. I can't imagine using that because it would be so confusing, but it's there, so I don't know, maybe it's something you like. That's the hold. Yeah, we're not doing that. Pulse, repeat step 4 times. Yeah, see again, it's really strange. Random? No. Portamento. Bend, nope. Tonality, not really. Well, you know what, let's do some tonality. Let's see what we get. 5th up, ignore chord progression, transpose only. Okay, so that's something different. This is just some interesting transposition. Quantize, CS. Oh, let's try some 33% quantize. Okay. Did I have the random or something? That was cool sounding, but I'm not really sure what I did. I'm going to throw the random on there. Let's see what we get. 2 steps. See, I'm not really sure what that means. 5 steps. All right, what's this guy? This one is jump. Okay, again, another alteration of the step sequencer. Use every, aha, there we go. Use every second parameter lock. Use every second component. Second trig. Okay, I'm assuming. Why is it lighting up like that? Interesting. Okay, we'll do every, so I'm hoping every second trig will be every other. Let's hear. Skipped it. Take it. Cool. All right. Let's mess with some effects. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and send some reverb off of this guy to kind of give it a little roomy space to it. So if I come here, I'm in mix. I'm on track 1. My reverb should be this guy. Just a little bit. I'm going to come, so I said we weren't going to mess with the aux tracks, but actually there is the effects, reverb and delay are how you get to these. So if I hit this guy and I come over to my reverb here, it does just say effects. That makes me wonder, can I put different? How did I not know that? Wait a minute, can I put them? Oh man, that's awesome. Oh, I wish I could use more because I like the delay already. Oh we might have to kill the delay and put some lo-fi on there, man. Oh, I'm gonna do it because this needs lo-fi. Yeah, baby! Oh! Oh, man, that is so awesome. Drift. Drifts all the way up. Quality. Oh, man, I can't believe okay, I swear I read the manual, but I'm telling you, there was so much in there, man. You read it and you come to this thing and you're like, it just leaves your head. So that's on me. All right, let's come back and do what we're supposed to do and go mess with this reverb. I need a little more on the size, a little less of the dry. Very nice. Real quick, I'm going to come back here. I'm going to see if I could possibly mess with the tune of this, but I don't know if I can. What does this one do? Oh, okay. That's like a volume envelope that's taken out some of that initial transit. That's kind of nice for this. Too much. Cool. I might actually do that for the kick too. Yeah, that is nice. Mellows it out, so it almost sounds like a brush. Even the kick sounds like a little softer. Whew. Man, how fun! I didn't know about that lo-fi. I'm so excited. All right, let's get back into it. Oh man, so happy. It's nothing like learning new stuff, especially when it comes in this little tiny package. It's just amazing. Okay. Well, I guess we need to put in some bass, but it's clearly a very heavy synth bass. Not what I want. Let's see if maybe... I wonder... I don't recall there one being in the multi-sampler. Oops. No, I'm just going to check. I might be able to use this. Oh, no, did I already use this? Nope. Cool. I'm going to use that felt piano as a bass. I think that's going to be all right. Busy. Let's try something simple. Oh, that's right, it's C major. C7. Let's play in C minor. Here's the question, do I keep it pretty? Do I start adding some kind of groove to it? Anybody care to point the direction? All right, if you don't. All right, probably go funky. Bar, we're gonna go just 2 bars for now. Whoops, what am I doing? There we go. Give it a whirl. All right, we're at G. Oh, what did I do? Oh, because the other thing was in half scale, so it was throwing me off. Okay. let's go ahead and clear this out. How do I do that? I hold the bar button and I do clear all. Okay. Let's go ahead and max this out to 4. Okay, now we're cooking. All right. It's okay. Nope. Yeah, that's what I need. Okay, I'm just going to start that all over. So, bar, clear all. So I'm going to go boom. Okay, perfect. Okay. Ooh, what did I touch? I had to push play and I hit that button. Okay, I'm hearing something. Oh, I keep going that minor. Sure, why not? Oh, I almost made the mistake again. Let's see if I can do this while I'm actually going live. Cool, that's nice. All right. Oh, I forgot what I was playing. Play a little funky. It's auto-quantizing. It's probably something I can change, but I'm not messing with it right now. Okay. It has some coolness to it, but I need to simplify it a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and just, well, no, let's actually edit. Let's edit the steps. We have not done that yet. That's something I need to get better at, so. Okay, let's go ahead and, so we know this note here. We come back here, push that. So I'm going to use some, I'm going to keep that actually, but I'm going to simplify it the first run around, and then I'm going to come back around the second time by using these probability, I guess you'd call them for this. Let's see. So I got to remember how it goes. I'm actually going to take all of these. Let's see. Okay. Shift. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Let's just, well, we'll bring this one back out. Oh, I'm going to do it over again. Just the first 4. Okay, which one was it? It was this guy? No, it was the last guy. Yes! Okay. Okay. And then we get the little extra. Nice. All right. I think I'm missing one note right in the middle here. Right after this little. Maybe that. Let's try. Mess it up. Sure did. Oh, good. It was just right there. I thought I hit it on the 1. Okay. I forgot. No, we're just going to play through. What am I missing there? mess with this sound because I'm not crazy about that yet. So let's just hear what we can get out of this thing. There we are. Okay, if we mess with tone, it's a little better. What's texture do? Okay, I want to bring down... What's this? I can't, it's so tiny to read. Is it either says tine or time? I'm assuming tine since we're doing with an electric piano. Yeah. Bring down that punch. Soften it. That's cool because I'm going to throw some reverb on it. First, I'm going to go over here to this guy and do a little extra high pass. Oh, because I'm holding shift. Let's go. 20 is usually a pretty good setting I've noticed on this, just to clean up the lows, but not affect too much of the sound. So you can hear just a little bit, maybe even 25. 22. Okay. Come to the mixer. This is track 4. I'm gonna bring down the volume a little bit. I'm gonna bring the pan. I feel like this one has to be panned over a little bit now too, kind of give it some space. Back to this one, bring down the volume a little bit. Let's bring a lot of reverb in there. A little bit of delay. Maybe a lot of delay. Am I crazy? The delay's not working at all on that for some reason. Oh, that's right. It's not delay anymore. That's lo-fi. Ooh. So let's go ahead and bring that up a little bit. Ooh, man. You know what? We can also bring the... Where are my strings? These are my strings. We can bring that into the lo-fi. Hell, everything needs to go to that lo-fi. Let's bring some drums. My bass was on 3. I think I'm going to go back here and put a little bit of filter. These are some other things too. Some like this is my EQ, EQ here, but it is just like a general EQ, so it helps. But it's I'm going to use it very sparingly. Gain, clip, tone, mix. Honestly, I don't know what that is. This is cool. Where you can just kind of. Okay, I should explain this a little bit. You automatically. I'm sorry. The synth automatically puts. A particular synth or a drum sound or whatever into 2 different categories, percussion or melodic. And this actually is very nice because you don't have to mess with it. I guess it does create some limitations, but the nice thing about it is, like, for example, when you use the punch-in effects, which we haven't messed with yet, we will here shortly. Say you just want to affect the drums with the punch-in effects. Well, you would just use them over here versus over here, which is more the melodic section. I believe this little white line is supposed to split these. When I first got it, I was like, is this like a light? What does this thing do? Now I'm believing that this is basically saying, like, hey, everything to the left is affecting the percussion, everything to the right is affecting the melodic stuff. This is just pertaining to the punch-in effects. Obviously here it's giving us the same capabilities, but within the EQ or within the mixing realm. So watch, if I turn this all the way down, no drums. Oh, I'm sorry, you can hear them, but they're very quiet. Versus if I crank them up. So, kind of a nice little feature. I like options, so I probably personally prefer to decide what goes where. But it is a cool thing, especially, you know, I do want to say again, like, this is not a cheap, this is not a toy. This is not a toy, but this is mainly going to be a sketch pad for me. I am going to make some songs directly on it because that's more of a challenge. But when it comes to making, like, maybe I'm wrong here, this is new for me, but I think I'm going to treat this more of like I'm somewhere where I'm out of my studio. I'm in a place where I'm not going to pack my MPC Live or my Toneverk or my like Electron gear. I just want something that I can throw in my backpack and still play and write music. I've been trying for, almost 18 years, 15 years to do music on iPhones and iPads. I actually did release an album, a 5-track EP on my iPhone. I was really happy about it. It was my first album I ever released properly. But it was a struggle. I don't like just working with touchscreens. And I even tried hooking up keyboards and stuff. I don't know why. It just never really clicked with me. It's good. They're amazing. I mean, really, like an iPad is essentially a computer, so I should be able to bust out amazing music. Maybe it's the concept that it's too many options, maybe all that stuff. That could be it. But hardware is where it's always been for me when it comes to making stuff. So this little form factor, slide it into my backpack. Hell, if you had deep pockets, if I had cargo shorts like I used to when I was younger, it might fit in there. So that to me is this is the dream. Like, what an age we live in right now to be able to have a complete, you know, again, you can make arguments about limitation, but still a complete groove box that weighs, you know, about as much as a little handheld video game system. It's just amazing. Anyways, back to it. Gosh, what was I doing? No, I was going to do something. Oh, geez. Oh, it was, let's see here. Oh, yeah, I was going to filter some of this guy. Yeah, I want them to be a little darker. So if I come back into my keys here, I'm in the correct track. I go to 2, and that is my envelope. Here we go, filter. Let's just hear what I get by just... So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to find my middle ground. Then when I come over to 3, whoops, I turned off the filter. 4, I'm going to use my LFO. This is my rate. I'm going to back that down. This is my amount. Nope, that's my vibe. Okay, so this is... So here, I guess should mention this about the LFOs. You get 5, because I forgot, I just updated this, and now you have the duck LFO. Haven't even used it. I'm assuming it's something like a sidechain compressor or something. Why would they call it duck if it wasn't? But I'm going to go towards value. Value is your actual LFO, like your traditional LFO. Tremolo is just designed to be like a volume tremolo kind of thing. Random, this is different because this wasn't there last time when I just updated this today from 1.09 to 1.10. I didn't realize I was on the old firmware until I went to go look for something, and I was like, why is this not there? And then I realized, like, oh yeah, duh. Element is where you can do things like, you know, assign it to the gyroscope in here, whatever. But most times I'm reaching for value, which is just your traditional LFO. So you can see we have a time synced one, or you can go right here, which is more of like a non-synced or non-locked to the sequencer rate or speed. This is going to be the amount. Let's see. We want... That's interesting. Oh, yeah, there we go. There's my... Yeah, you should be able to see that. Oh, man, it's so washed out. You can't really see that, can you? Let me back down the brightness on this. See if that helps. Okay, it's kind of hard for me to see, but that's all right. I'll deal. Let's go back to this. Oops, back here, then this. Oh, a little better. But if I click here, yeah, there you go. You can see now. So we got our traditional ones here. We got, that's supposed to be a sine. It's very similar to looking to the square. You got a saw, and then you have your other saw. So you actually have 2 saws, no triangle, which is fine. Although I do generally prefer a triangle, unfortunately, so maybe there's a way I can adjust those. I don't know why I'd want... Yeah, well, what are you going to do? All right, we're gonna go. What did I select here? Let's go with the sine. Whoops, come back here. Sine. We're at a slow volume or slow rates. We are looking for filter. We are gonna go to the cutoff. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and crank the amount so we can hear it. I'm gonna back that. I wish I had one more LFO though, so I could just do a little bit of warble on that, on the pitch for the strings. I'm actually going to go back to the filter and open it up just a little bit. And I'm actually going to go back to this and bring up a little bit more high pass. It's getting a little muddy with that low pass filter. We got our bass pattern. It's 9:21, so we got plenty of time. Okay. I'm trying to commit to about 2 hours of streaming this time. So now we're going to talk about scenes and songs. Scenes, this is like a take I've never seen on a sequencer. I'm still fairly new to the concept, so I'm not committed to feeling a little sad about some things. Or happy about some things, because I'm still not fully involved in it. So maybe there's some workarounds I can commit. But so let me explain how it works first, and I'll tell you why I'm really excited about the different way of doing it. But I'm already hitting in my brain. I'm like, oh, but does that mean I can't do that, or that's gonna be a problem? Well, let me just say the main thing I don't like is it's hard. You have to complete a pattern. Or a scene, I should say. A scene is, they kind of consider each track has a pattern, which makes sense. And all those patterns altogether, like this, what we're playing right now, is a scene. You have to complete a scene before you can move to the next one. And that can be problematic because of the way it needs to be arranged. It seems to be a little bit problematic for me because sometimes, for example, I might want something to happen. Well, I don't know. I guess right now I'm already thinking too, like I just realized I can do more with the parameter, the step components, in terms of probability. So maybe that will help. But there's just some things that I was like, I like the ability to switch patterns instantaneously, but you can't do that if you set them up into a song, or you can, I should say, but then it overrides it. Okay, that is a little convoluted, but let me show you how we're working here. So these 4 buttons right here kind of indicate the 4 main areas you can be in. We've already talked about audio tracks. This is our aux tracks where it holds our effects, holds all these other fun things like the punch effects, the external CV, MIDI CV, the tape machine. Oh man, that's cool. The brain, holy cow. Okay, not today. Not enough time. This one, these 2 here, we did mess with the mixer already, and the third one, which we haven't talked about yet, is the arrangement area. So if you push it once, you end up in just the scene creation. And you can do scene switching, of course. By holding shift, you can see we have our numbers light up. What's really amazing, you can actually do 99 scenes on this thing for one song, which is amazing. That's a tremendous amount. It doesn't seem like it has a lot of limitations when it comes to that. But there's actually a little funny things here. So you can only see 1 through 9, and then you have a 0, and you're like, how do I get to 11, for example? Well, you hit 1, 0, and then now you can double type. But we're going to go back to 1. So that's how you get to 99 with all those buttons. But we're going to do 1 here. So let me see. You can see that pretty well. You can see we have our 8 tracks. Each one of these lanes or each one of these columns here represent a track. You create new scenes by essentially, or I should say different scenes, by adding more patterns onto each column and then telling per scene what pattern to play per column. Does that make sense? So if we look, you have 8 right here, and there's just single ones, right? So say, let's go to pattern 2. I'm happy with pattern 2. So pattern 1, let's go ahead and mute Mute. I think it's this one. Yes. We're going to mute the drums. So here. You know, actually, I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to mute. Where was this guy? Was this? Yeah, 4. I'm going to mute 4. Whoops. All right. So scene 1 is missing the drums and that kind of plucky little electronic piano sound. Man, I love that bass sound. That is good. Okay, now I'm going to go to 2. You can see the only difference is those aren't muted. Now we can do it a different way. This I'm just going to show you. If I go back here and I want to unmute those, let's see, unmute. Oh, I can do it this way too. That's convenient. That's right. Does that stick? If I go to track 2? Oh, that's so much better than clicking. Okay. Nice. So now scene 1 and scene 2 are exactly the same. But if I want this to happen, the same thing to happen again, but in a different way, I could do it this way. I could go, don't hold this. I go to track 1 and I hit new. You can see it's empty. So if I do that same thing for track 4, so if I look the difference between here, I now have 2 tracks. I wish they would just keep them shown, but you can kind of see how, like, you can see like layers below it. I don't know why they do that, but it only shows when you have, I mean, I guess it's kind of ease of view. Whatever. So essentially we have the same outcome, because instead of muting the track, we're playing an empty track is kind of what I'm getting at here. Let's scene 2. So very cool. Where it gets a little funky, and it's a good thing that they've done this. I kind of wish there was a different implementation. I don't even know what that would be, but you can. I got to read the manual again because it didn't make a lot of sense to me the first time, and I haven't really played with it yet. But you can link the sound to a track or to that pattern on that track, so that when you then go to the next scene, it will stay with that sound. However, you can unlink it. So then you can now create new sounds in that same track, entirely new. New sound, new pattern, new everything, but it can exist on the same track. So you can imagine that can get a little confusing. And it does. It does for me. I believe I accidentally engaged it once because I was confused why it was sticking to the sound. It's basically, I created a new sound at a new pattern, and then when I went to switch to it again, it used the old sound. And I was confused. I read the manual and I was able to turn it off. But I was like, man, I don't think there's no like, I mean, maybe there is and I just didn't see it, but I didn't see anything that said, hey, this is a new track or a new sound on this track versus this is the same sound it's going to be all the time. So maybe there is and I just haven't seen it yet and I haven't messed with it. But basically the good part is you can use these 8 tracks. You can create an entirely new song on the second scene if you wanted to. Or you can keep those sounds and say, okay, we have 8 instruments, 8 players in this band, and they're just going to play different patterns as we go along. Or you can kind of intermix, which is great. It's really actually fantastic. It's just, it's got some learning curve to it because it's just a little convoluted. Nonetheless, I'm not going to mess with that right now. I'm going to stick to what we have here and just try to make a little simple song. So what I'm going to do now, we still have 2 tracks. No, we still have 3 tracks untouched. So I want to come up with one more scene. So I'm going to go ahead and shift to it. Shift 3. I'm going to create a new pattern for the drums, but actually I'm going to delete that one. Oh, yeah. So you know, if it's an empty pattern, you hit delete, instantaneous. If it's got something in there, it's going to do this thing where kind of you have to hold it while it kind of times down. I don't want to, well, I guess I could do it real quick to show you by, let's see, if I go here, let's see, track 3. How do I do it? Okay. Yeah, I didn't show this either, but depending on the track you're on, you use this last knob. I'm not going to touch these ones because these are the ones that mess with the sound. I'm going to stay away from those. These allow you to select what track you're using. So for scene 3, what I want to do is I want to go back to the first pattern from the second scene. This is where it gets confusing too. I actually saw some people on Electronauts talking about workflow, how they try to keep patterns numbered according to the scene. That probably makes sense. I haven't gotten that workflow dialed in yet, so I'm just kind of going with what I got. But what I want to do is I want to copy it. I want to paste it. So now you can see pattern 3 on track 1 has now been copied from pattern 1. So pattern 1 and pattern 3 are exactly the same. So sounds exactly the same. But what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go back into the track itself and I'm going to add some new stuff. So now it's going to be an actual different pattern. So let's see what we got here. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, that sounds good to me. Why did it stop there? Bad. I'm gonna go ahead and... One thing I don't know is obviously I'm in record mode right now and these are red. That makes sense, but I wonder if there's something different about that. I wonder if maybe it's showing me just this track since it's all I've recorded. Nah, I'll have to learn about it later, but I know I want to come out here and actually want to use... I want to add one right there just to kind of give that... I felt like that space at the end was a little wonky. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, first thing is I'm going to go onto this track, hold shift, and I'm going to go ahead and pan that to the right. I'm going to take off some of the transient. Let's see what we got now. And bring the volume down a little bit. Let's see what we got. What I wish I could do, I don't know how to do it if it's possible, so I'm thinking it's not. I wish I could use some high pass. I wish I could just do some individual high pass, maybe basic EQ, something for the sounds of the drum tracks, because, one thing I almost always do on my, like the tone verb, boom, they got it right. They did the sub tracks, and you get, I'd say about 80, maybe 75% of the control you would find on individual full tracks. You get those on each sub track. So you can do some high pass filter per sound. You can do some filtering per sound in general. You can do amp envelopes. You can pitch. You can do all these different things per drum sound. And it all sits on essentially one master track because you have 8 tracks, 8 audio tracks, if you will, on the tone verc. And then each of those can have 8 sub tracks. It's pretty amazing. Obviously, this thing is not, I don't know. I mean, it's same price, or actually it's a lot more, but thankfully I got this thing for a heck of a lot cheaper. But you would think it might have that. Maybe it'll come in future. But right now, it's like my biggest complaint is like the drums, you really get locked into something. And honestly, it means if I really want to get some great drum sounds out of this, I'll probably have to create some on my computer, kind of pre-mix them in terms of like getting their overall frequencies in the place I really want, and then bounce those into here, because you just don't really get that kind of control once it's inside. Like that, I want to kill off so much of that low frequency and just make it like a tss, but I can't. I don't even think I can pitch it, which that one sucks, because man, I mean, is there a way to pitch it? Oh, I can make it go backwards and forward. That's nice. I don't think I can pitch it, man, because, again, I could probably do something with the step components, but anywhere that this sound also sits on a step with the kick or the the kick or the snare, it's going to affect that too, which I don't want that. So all I can do really is just bring the volume way down. I feel like I'm going to have to bring the pan back a little bit. probably just erase this pattern and start over, but I really just want to demonstrate. Okay, I really want to just demonstrate how do I kind of build a bit of a song here. So let's go to this guy. Actually, no, we're going to go back to pattern, track 4. For this one, I am going to engage that empty. I almost feel like I should go back to this one and maybe take out. Let's just hear what it sounds like without. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and do an additional empty pattern on this guy. I'm going to do the empty patterns instead of mutes just because I like that. I think that's a good idea. I know I don't want this part in the song at this scene, so I don't want to accidentally unmute it and to be there. I just want it to be gone entirely unless I actively change the pattern. So now we hear that piano's gone, and what I'm going to do, let's hear, it's going to be in pattern, I'm sorry, scene 1. It's going to be tricky kind of getting used to all the different terminology because I would call these patterns in Electron machines. We're going to call them scenes here because patterns refer to the individual tracks, notes, and parameters. So here, the piano patch hanging on the right. Now it's gone. Now it's back. You know what? All right, let's come over to track 7. We're going to add something new and melodic here. What do I do? Does it shift here? Nope. See, I'm getting caught up. I thought it was this. Oh, it was, but the last time it muted it. Okay, that was confusing. All right, let's just go to, we're going to use that hard sync that can't make a good sound. Sweet baby. Get a preset going. You know what? I take it back. We can make good sounds. Here I am. That's funny. But I want this guy. Too much. I want to hear what soft tine sounds like. No. Definitely not. Okay, we're going to start with this guy and then we'll kind of affect it a little bit. So if I click that again, I really love the animations they have on here. God, I don't remember which one it is now, but one's like a woman doing something and it's really cool looking. So, well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this guy over. See 7. I'm going to pan it to the left a little bit since we have that piano back on the right. Okay. I'm also going to take some high pass, crank off some of that. Maybe about 40. We've cut the legs out quite a bit, but I think it's going to sound better in the mix. This does have an arpeggiator too, but I haven't used it yet, and honestly, I don't need it right now. This is too much of a chill song. Okay, let's come here and let's start messing with this a little bit. Ooh, that's the swarm. It's like detune almost mixed with almost like some hard sync or something, or what's that, not hard sync, a ring mod maybe? What's going on there? Oh, I must have the velocity sensitivity. Must be... No, I don't know why. You can see the FM. That must be something cool I can mess with. I didn't know that. And then here's detune. AM should be amplitude modulation. Alright. Let's try some of this filter in here. Actually, I'm going to keep the filter quite low. I'm going to come back and I'm going to mess with the filter envelope. Let's see. How do I get to... Yes. Maybe this? This must be the... Let's see. Interesting. So that's our glide or portamento. I like when a portamento is very subtle for a long time. That's about halfway. Can't think of which synth it is off the top of my head, but one of them it's like you put just a little bit of portamento and you're getting this wacky glide all of a sudden. It's so hard to fine-tune it. Because there's definitely some cool sound effects you can do with some portamento, but if you're really just playing, you don't need that much. You know, I mean, maybe you do. I hate to say things like, you don't need too much, but what do I know? Maybe you need a lot. Everybody's different. God, I love that lo-fi. I'm hearing all sorts of little extra harmonics in there. Very nice. What I don't understand is how the envelope amount towards the filter doesn't seem to be that much. Let's come back. Yeah, it's not doing... That can't be. I don't know what that is then. That just must be the sound to the regular mixer. Well, maybe it's under, and I didn't see it. Maybe I have to do shift here. No, that's just aux. There must be something I'm missing. Maybe it's one of these. It's so hard to see right now. I'm gonna actually look. Ah, I can see it better on the screen. Oh, that's resonance, definitely. Oh, look at that. What's that back end one? Okay, come back to the envelope. I want a little more sustain. Let's do some more length on the filter. That works. There we go. I think I was just messed up with the envelope. Okay. I'm not crazy about the sound, honestly. It's a cool sound, but it's not fitting in right now. Too much portamento. Where was that? Was it here? No. There it was. It's just a little bit. Let's also try a little. There we go. Soften it up a little bit. Ooh, jeez. Oh, see, I bumped that thing. I must have bumped it when I hit stop. And I was like, why is that extra note appearing there? Didn't even notice. Okay, something spacey. I got it. So. I did it again. Let's get those bars up. Okay. 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 I'm actually going to do this real quick. Clear it out. And we're doing some spacey long notes, so I'm going to go ahead and quad the scale. So we're going to be doing this for a second. Now I basically get the equivalent of 256 steps compared to the other patterns, but of course we still just get 64 steps, but we're going to play long drawn out notes, so we don't need as fast. We don't need a sequencer that has that much resolution, so. Funky notes in there that I'll fix, but not bad. I'm 9:48. I don't have time to fix them, so we're just gonna live with that for now. But what I want to show is the song mode. Now, let's see if this will do it to me. Song 1. Okay, I don't know if it was a bug or what, but it seemed to be not loaded into a song. By holding Shift, you can select. Here's where it's a little confusing. Instead of using these numbers, because that's what's going to actually select your scenes, use this thing down here to select your songs. So song all the way up to song 14. I assume that's probably as many as you can go. Yeah. Which 14 songs, that's pretty great. Good enough. But yeah, I had this weird bug where basically every time I put a scene in, it would just disappear. Just kept doing it over and over. But after I updated it, it seemed to work, so I'm just going to consider that a bug. And I'm glad to see when I first create my first song here, it's song 1, and it is not disappearing. So let's just do 1, 2, and 3. Here we get. So as you can see, what I did is I held down Shift, I made sure I was in the first song, because that's what we're recording now for song 1, and then I started laying in my scenes. So for example, just as an example, if I was going up to 99 scenes and I wanted to say, oh, I want to go to like 96, I would hit 0, 9, 6. You can see scene 96 now exists. You holding down Shift, you see you get these little options here. So we're going to go and delete that one. You can move through and then, insert most likely. Actually, I don't know if you can insert. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. That's sweet. That's nice. Because if you build something complex, you need to go back and insert one thing. It would be a pain in the butt to have to, I don't know, manually move it all. So I'm glad that they did that. There is something else that I don't remember how to get to. But I feel like Yeah, you can like copy. No, it was in the scenes. Okay, so you can see new, copy, paste, clear. That's just creating patterns here, but you can also clone and copy. Honestly, I don't know what the difference is. I'll learn, but it does give you this option. So something, yeah, I don't know what clone versus copy, because I mean, that's the same thing as far as I know in terms of words. So anyways, let's go back here. All right, let's see what we got. Whoop, that doesn't sound right. Did I put that in pattern 1? Gosh darn it. That doesn't make any sense. Hold on. What did I do? I did. Okay, no problem though, because how awesome this thing is. So if I go to pattern 1, and I'm going to put a new, so that way we have nothing playing. Okay. That was an easy fix. Hell yeah. But wait. Oh, that's because, okay. Just to mention too, like this right here, when it's white, that's currently just, you were creating scenes, groups of patterns, for just the audio tracks. You can do the same thing by tapping it again and create them for the auxiliary tracks. So that's pretty cool, because that means you could potentially take a scene, copy it to scene 2, not make any changes, but then on the auxiliary tracks do something different, so it effectively makes a new, or at least a variant of that original scene. That's pretty cool. I like how they separated that. Yeah, pretty smart. I guess the one downside is, as you're creating more, if you wanted to just keep those all together, you might have to do double the work a little bit to make sure they stay together. I haven't gotten that far. It's probably the case. Maybe that's clone. I don't know. Maybe clone takes all of it. We'll find out. But for now, we're just going to ignore the aux tracks like I mentioned, and we're going to go back to Shift, Arrange, go back to our song. I'm going to enjoy a sip of beer and listen to my song. This is an example of, obviously I should shorten this because I must have a track scale for one of the patterns, one of the tracks. That's too long. That I feel like arrangement-wise this should have changed already, but whatever. I'm going to stop it. Sorry. I wanted to just listen, but I'm going to go ahead and fix, because I must have had... Yep. I need to go here and use that, the blank for 7, because I really just want that in 3. Okay. Let's see if we can fix this real quick too. What do you suppose is going so long? It's probably this guy. I think that's the one I did 4 scale. So let's see if this doesn't mess it up. Hopefully I'm going to back off. So I'm keeping the scale at 4, so we're still getting the same slowness, if you will, of the sequencer, but I took away 2 of the bars, so that should half that. Let me check anything else and see. Scale 2, scale 1, scale 1, scale 1, scale 1. Okay, that should have been the offender. Okay. All right, let's try it again. Why can I not start that over? Okay. I guess it just starts automatically. Tab 1. The note gets cut off. I should fix that too, but I'm not going to worry about it now. Right now it's set to song loop. We can adjust that too. It'll just keep playing over and over. I don't know, man. I think this thing's pretty amazing. Wow. All right. I'm gonna save this. So be sure to save. Holy cow, you will lose stuff. I should have been saving already. I've been slacking. So if you collect this guy right here, not really sure what that is. A pen? I assume that's maybe a pen. A goose with its neck stretched out? Who knows? I'm gonna save it first, and then I'm gonna go ahead and rename it. I'm just going to call this YT1 for now, just to make sure I know that this was created live on YouTube. I will work out a name for it later. Believe it or not, even though I've definitely been told by bandmates in the past that, not all of them, some of them liked them, but a couple of bandmates told me I'm horrible at naming songs. I think I'm great at it, but what are you going to do? So I also like to take it very serious. It actually means something to me. So I'm not just going to name it willy-nilly. All right. Okay. Save it just again to be safe. You know, I didn't know what I was going to make on this, and I just kind of followed the way that this thing led today. Like I mentioned, I found that first patch, and I really, really liked the sound, so I decided to do something a little slow and beautiful. For 2 hours, kind of, you know, honestly, I wasn't focused on making the music. I've been talking a lot and kind of going over things. I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like if I spent a couple of hours on that, I could crank out something that I feel like I would enjoy listening to. So, heck yeah. I mean, dude, I'm going to turn this off. I'm actually going to, hopefully it doesn't pop or anything here. I'll go mute it. The thing here. There we go. It does have, I'm going to go ahead and pull these out and pull this guy out. This was what I was using for power. I just felt like I should power it. But as you can see, it is still powered. Perfectly fine. Let's get rid of this guy for now. I mean, here. Let's see if I can. No, I'm not going to worry about that. But here's the power switch. It's a little goofy only because I'm worried I'm going to hit it sometimes, but it's very easy to use. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. It boots up pretty fast, which I'll show here in a second. But I mean, look how small this thing is. I'm not going to lie, I have this weird thing about me where I like want to envision the worst thing to happen. And when I first got it, I kind of wanted to smash it. It's sort of like break it over my knee because it was, I don't know. Yeah, forgive me. I must have something wrong with my brain. But I'm just amazed how tiny this thing is and how well engineered it is. It works great. You know, all the semi-complaints I have about it are really just me finding things to be bothered about, because honestly, I have a smile on my face every time I bust this thing out. You know, the cost is ridiculous. Got it for like $800 off, so it was obviously a much better deal. But it's got these like built-in Velcro circles, which it does come with some ones that you can stick on something. You know, it comes with them in the box. So obviously, you can like mount it on things. I haven't use those because obviously I don't know where I'm going to put it. It's really going to live in a little case and be on me almost at all times. I can't imagine. I haven't done it in a while, but what I really like to do is minimalist backpack camping. I have like an ultra packable hammock, really, really low, I think it's like 19-degree sleeping bag, and then I have an underquilt that goes underneath the hammock, because if you do any sort of hammocking in the wintertime, you'll know that wind blows underneath you and it freezes your butt off. So you put one of those underquilts, you get nice and toasty. I can sleep in virtually 0 degrees and be fine, and I will bring this with me as well as my probably my retro Pocket 5. Any retro video gamers out there, I love that. I just got that thing for Christmas for my wife. Very awesome present. Or a Nintendo Switch, or something. And I could probably live like that for a long time. I even have solar power battery packs or solar powered chargers that I wonder if I could actually just sit this thing out with a solar power thing and just, get the battery up to honestly, if I could even get 20% into this battery every day, that would be enough to play for like 3-4 hours. I'm just blown away, man. What an age we live in. I got to tell you, I know the future is going to hold more crazy things, but like right now, I'm pretty damn happy. Like this is great. Yeah. Highly recommended. I know it's cost prohibitive, and I know most people will completely not be interested because of that cost. I expect it to go down. Watch for sales. Like I said, $800 off at B&H Photo. It's not that long ago. It's just like crazy good deal. Couldn't pass it up. All I can say is, man, if you can, do it. And if you just even if you're just a hobbyist, you just want something to do. If it prevents you from looking at your phone for an hour, hell yeah. Like I can't get over it. It's so amazing. I've never played the OP1. I take that back. I was at the Moog store. There used to be in Asheville. I live in Asheville. There used to be an actual Moog store in the Moog building. Sure, if you know, you know. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It's gone now. But they had an OP1 there, and at that point, this is way a long time ago. I was actually there to check out the analog rhythm, the first one, the MK1 Electron rhythm that came out. And so that was my main focus. And I saw the little OP1 there, and I was like, oh, cool. But this is not an approachable synth where you can just walk in and be like, oh, cool. Let me just never even heard of this thing or seen it before. Let me just touch some buttons. No. And the OP1 seemed to be the same. Like, I looked at it, and I was like, I don't even know what to do on this thing. And the guy was like, oh, you do this and do that. And I was like, yeah. I already read the manual for the rhythm. Let me play with that thing. And I sat there for like an hour and played the rhythm. Ordered one within a couple days. But anyway, if an OP1 fell in my lap, I certainly wouldn't complain because from my understanding, it has some very capable machine synthesis similar to this. Instead of sequencing, it sounds like you record into like a tape deck, virtual tape deck, of course. Which is really cool. I think that's a cool idea. I prefer the sequencing, so that's why I would prefer this one. But I bet you they go together really well. But funny enough, I've gone through pretty much the full gamut with TE. I started with the pocket operators. My wife got me some of those for Christmas. Those are toys. They're fun. They're cool. They're neat. But those are toys. I can write like one song of that thing. It's barely a song. It's more of just like a jam. And they're fun, and they're neat. But I think I've picked them up once in the past 6 months because they're just kind of a novelty. Then I got the Medieval, which is a very silly little instrument, but I love it. If you do follow my channel or if you do follow me in any way and you've seen, I'm pretty damn happy, dare I say proud of the songs I've made on that little box. Like I really like that little machine. It's very simple. They definitely need to do the update. God, if they gave us sampling on there, like what am I trying to say? Master sampling. If I could resampling is what I'm trying to say. Then I'd really be able to cook with that thing. But I feel like I've done some pretty good work with that little guy. This is on a whole nother level. This is to me, yes, simple in some ways, but this is a full groove box. This is the entire package. It even has a mic on board so you can record, and it's actually not bad. I did do some recording just for fun with my daughter. We just kind of checked it out, so that was kind of fun. But honestly, man, like I'm blown away. I know there's some hate towards TE, and I get it because they're overpriced, and they seem to be more design focused than they are functionality. These are the other people's opinions. I might have shared that a little bit at times, those opinions, but man, yeah, it's still overpriced, I guess. It's not really overpriced, it's just expensive, but man, is this thing cool. I'm telling you. If you can, I don't think you would regret owning this thing because it is so fun. So, thank you for joining me. I have not had time to do what I hope to do, which is release some sample sets and stuff like that. That is going to be a big focus. I'd had plans to take some Christmas time off and do some things, but we had family, and that's obviously way more important than anything. So family comes first, and we did some fun stuff, so I didn't get any time to do those things. So I'm kind of breaking them up into month chunks. This month is my focus on improving my stream, which includes, I hope you enjoyed the intro video. That was something I made recently, and I was really proud of that. So I'm going to try and spend the next couple weeks just making the stream a little bit more entertaining. Hopefully, maybe get some more people. Obviously, my numbers aren't that great here, but I still just love doing it, so hopefully that'll transcend into more audience. But every month I'm going to basically tackle a new thing that I'm going to try and improve. And one of those, which will either be the next month or the one after, will be focusing on getting some product for people to enjoy. Most of it will be free because I want to sample the things I'm doing here and just hand them out. Hopefully you'll enjoy those and all that stuff. I also have some samples that I've worked very hard and long on, and those ones I would like to get some sort of compensation for, a couple of bucks, nothing crazy. But point being is I have the MPC Live 2, I have the Toneverk, and I have this little guy, and they all use multi-samples. So my goal is no matter what I sample, no matter what machine I use to do it, I want to then convert them to operate on those 3 different machines. If you own one of those, you might like to check out those sample packs. That would include the free ones too. I want to make them all work. There are some cool tools out there that should do some automation and allow me to do that in a decent amount of time. But for now, stream is the focus. Again, thank you so much for checking it out. Classic thing, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Hopefully I can build this more and do it more. So again, thank you. Have a great night. Definitely check one of these out if you get a chance. Look how light this thing is. It's crazy. I'm going to try not to break it on purpose just because, I don't know, I just kind of want to. I won't, I promise. But